What's up, BB Clan? Alex Espion here, and welcome back to the next episode of the Pokemon Red Randomizer Nuzlocke, where in today's episode, we are continuing our trek through Rock Tunnel, which we started in the last episode. We were supposed to start an episode before that, but we hit the but in case you missed it, we hit the unfortunate roadblock, diversion, or what's another word for that? I know there's another word for that. It's not the word I was looking for. Roadblock and diversion work, but there's another word. Maybe it isn't. Maybe there isn't. Yeah, maybe there isn't. Whatever, we hit a diversion. Slight diversion. In the episode before that, and we had to go back and catch Pokemon so that we could get Flash, because, in case you missed it, this cave is very, very dark when you don't have Flash. Like, pitch black dark. So, now we are like, I feel like a decent way through Rock Tunnel. I think that our Pokemon are looking pretty good on health. It definitely helps, because like Mount Moon we were really struggling, and we were like really lost, and all our Pokemon were like dying, and it was really horrible. However, now our Pokemon are just like, our team is just better equipped. We have tons of we have a lot more type coverage. We have higher levels, so we can better take hits, because we have more HP. You're just better equipped to take care of these long, winding tunnels full of trainers and wild Pokemon. At this point in time. So, fought her. We didn't fight this guy though, yeah. So, haha, can you beat my power? Yeah, probably. It's quite possible. So, yeah. I feel like we made a decent amount of progress. Like, I know Rock Tunnel is long, but I feel like we did make more progress, at least, than we did with our first episode of Mount Moon. Because the first episode of Mount Moon felt very unproductive. I know on the first run we got to Mount Moon, it was really, really unproductive. Second run was slightly more productive, but still, like, first episode in Mount Moon was for some reason really rough. And I think that's just because there are so many paths that just don't lead anywhere, but there's trainers there. So, like, you don't really make any progress, but you're fighting trainers, and your Pokemon are getting weakened down, like, whittled down slowly. So, like, by the time you exit to go to the Pokemon Center, you realize that you didn't really make any progress because you were just too busy fighting trainers and, like, dead ends. But yeah, as I said in a previous episode, X and Y just has, like, all these, X and Y is so hit or miss. It's like Sonic the Hedgehog, like, X and Y Pokemon designs are really hit or miss. Because you have, like, really cool ones, like the Goomy line, and the Skrelp line, and the Clauncher line, and then you have things like the Bunnelby line, and frickin' Klefki, which I think is, like, one of the main calling cards of, like, Gen 1ers saying Pokemon designs are stupid nowadays. And I completely get why, as someone who only played the old gens, looking forward into Pokemon and seeing Klefki would be like, these designs are terrible. Like, I think that genuinely Klefki gives Gen 1ers more of a foot to stand on, and that's something that I never want to give Gen 1ers, because Gen 1ers are really, like, it's just like, opinions are opinions, but, like, I think that you should be more open-minded. Like, if you loved a game so much, oops, outmuscled. If you loved a game so much, and there are so many, and it, like, expands into a wide series with tons and tons of games, then certainly you could find some other game in that series that, while you may not love it as much as the original, certainly still gives you joy. Like, I don't understand how people can only, like, or how people can be so devoted to Gen 1. Because, like, Pokemon is Pokemon. And really, not a lot changes from game to game. So it's like, yeah, maybe the Gen 1 sprites have some charm, and maybe, you're a fan of, like, walking speed and designs and stuff, but, like, you have a Pokedex? I want one too! But, like, the fact of the matter is, if you, like, there are just, Pokemon is just, like, it's a very, like, certain thing. I feel like Nintendo makes a lot of those games where it's just like a very certain thing. Like, Mario and Pokemon. Mario's always gonna jump. Pokemon, you're always gonna catch the Pokemon. Like, okay. I don't know how Metroid is because I've played one Metroid game, and I haven't seen a lot of content on Metroid games. I think the Legend of Zelda games, in general, just take way more, like, chances than, like, Mario or Pokemon. But, like, recently, I think the 3D Mario games obviously take a lot more chances than the 2D ones. Because obviously they have the ability to take a lot more chances, because they introduce all these new mechanics. They have all these new mechanics they can introduce, because a lot of the mechanics that you see in 3D Mario games wouldn't work in 2D Mario games as well, if at all. Like, Flood in a 2D Mario game would just feel like so broken, you know, because it's like, shoot, I'm so jealous. It's just like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, in a 3D Mario game that's like big and open, levels are big and open, Flood seems perfectly fine. Eek, don't try anything funny in the dark. But like, you compare that to like a 2D Mario game, or heck, even like Super Mario Galaxy, and it's just, you have so much less space to move around that it's just like, it wouldn't work, you know? Like, Flood, I think, is the biggest example in Mario of, like, this would not work in 2D. Cappy is also another one, where it just doesn't make sense to have, like, in a 2D game, to have so much range on your attacks. Especially in something that's not, like, combat-focused like Mario. Like, maybe in a game where... Why did I switch to Carly, man? Maybe in a game where, like, you had all these different combat options, it would be, like... And, like, they had, like, a skill tree or something. Like, it would be better to have that. It would be fitting to have like those different ranged attacks. But even if it's just like one, like the simple like cap throw that they put in a 2D game, it would still be odd to just have that range, because Mario doesn't usually have that range. And Mario really isn't built for you to be able to like just attack like that forward. And like Super Mario 64 does have Mario punching and kicking, so he can like attack things in front of him. But like that's like directly in front of him. The difference between that and Cappy is that Cappy has like this distance to him. And with every other thing that gives you distance, every other attack that gives you distance in 2D Mario games is unlocked via a power-up. So the fact that Mario would just have Cappy is just like, it wouldn't make sense in a 2D game. It wouldn't make sense from like a gameplay standpoint. Excuse me, guys. My throat is just not cooperating today. But like, I think that at this point we have like Super Mario 64. For some reason, it's so normalized that like Mario just punches and kicks things. But like, and yeah, from time to time you do look back at it and it's like kind of weird, because you wouldn't think of Mario like that. Like, Mario's such a kid-friendly thing. Mario's such a kid-friendly series, it just feels, it does have a tendency to feel kind of weird when you look at it. You're like, that is such a real thing to do, you know? Like, it almost breaks you out of this world of like fiction and cartooniness when Mario just starts punching and kicking things. It's like, it went from like a magical land where you stomp on the thing's head and then it goes pop, to just like, you are beating the heck out of this thing. And like, yeah, it is odd even in Super Mario 64, but people have like learned to accept it to the point where like, we don't usually like make a big deal about it. Like, you ask Super Mario 64 fans what Mario can do in that game, and they're not like, oh yeah, he can punch in that game. Isn't that wacky? They're like, oh yeah, dive, punch, kick, ground pound, long jump. Like, the punching and kicking, which to people who play later games seems crazy, is so normal to them. And the thing is, if they brought it back now, I feel like it would be, like, so crazy. Like, I feel like people have learned to accept that that was just, like, a part of Super Mario 64. But if that was in a game now, especially a 2D game, that would be nuts. It was too dark. Like, I feel like 2D games, especially, are more focused on, like, precision. 3D platformers. 3D platformers are more, especially, like, of the Mario variety, I feel are more focused on, like, puzzle solving. Which seems odd, because, like, who describes Mario as puzzle solving? But, like, honestly, it's true. Super Mario Galaxy less so. Super Mario Galaxy is just, like, skilled platforming. But your Pokemon, let's start. But the thing is, that just, like... Excuse me for 1 second, guys. Okay, guys, so basically, as I was saying, let me see if I can get my train of thought back here. I don't know, it's just like... Yeah, 2D Mario is just, like, focused on precision. When 3D Mario is focused more on, like, puzzle solving, because you have, like, these... Like, 2D Mario, the objective is always, like, get to the goal. But then in 3D Mario, aside from, like, Galaxy, because Galaxy is Galaxy, and it's very linear, just like 2D Mario games. But, like... the other 3D Mario games, just, like, Sunshine and 64, like, while 2D Mario, you're always working towards, like, the flagpole at the end of the level. You're always going to the right, for the most part. Like, it's just, like, side-scrolling to the right. And, yeah, there are some diversions where you, like, go down a pipe, and then you go some other direction, or you go through a door, and then you have to go the other way. But, like, for the most part, you were just progressing rightward to... Rightward? Is that, like, a word? Like, forward? I know, like, forward and backward. Was it rightward? Is that a thing? It just sounds like Squidward's, odd cousin that nobody talks about, Rightward. Hello, Rightward. Neighbor of Sponge Robert. That's just what they called SpongeBob in that one episode. But yeah, it's just like in 2D Mario, you're always progressing towards the flagpole to the right. But in 3D Mario games, especially 64, and I haven't actually seen, like, I don't know a whole lot about Sunshine, but I'd imagine Sunshine as well reflects this. In, like, 3D Mario games, like 64, it is, a lot of the time, it's a lot less obvious. You're not working towards, like, a specific goal, and even less often you are working towards a flagpole. Like, the only time when you're really working towards a flagpole is with, like, Koopa the Quick. The flagpole is, like, a complete... Like, it's not a thing in 3D Mario, because, like, there is no set goal in 3D Mario, that's the thing. Like, the goal does not remain the same with every level like it does in 2D Mario. So, in 3D Mario, yes, like, in Super Mario 64, like, yes, the names of the stars do give you a hint on what you're supposed to do, but, like, the goal isn't made apparent to you every single level. Like, you don't go into a level knowing how you get to the goal, you know? Like, it's not like 2D Mario, where it's just like, go right, and you'll get there. Where the problem is that it's hard to go right. Like, with 2D Mario, the difficulty is, you need to go right. And you know the flagpole is going to be to the right of you. And it's going to be a distance away from you. You don't know what distance it's going to be away from you, but you know it is going to be to the right of you. And you know if you keep going right, you will get there. There is that certainty to it, that, like, you need to go right. The flagpole is to the right of you. Like, that is always something that you can rely on in a 2D Mario game. Unless it's like a ghost house situation, in which case ghost houses are just weird because they teleport you all around, like, through all these doors, and you end up in this room, and then you end up in that room, and somehow you're out, and you're all the way to the right. Like, if you look at the map in, like, Super Mario 64 DS, New Super Mario Bros. DS, and, like, a ghost house, you could see like just the flag, like you will be in like the same, you'll be like here and there, like sometimes you'll be just be like, the map will not even show you when you're like right next to the flagpole, and so you just exit the ghost house and all of a sudden you're right there, even though the map did not even show you, like, in the slightest, the fact that you were close to it. But yeah, for the most part, it is just like, oh, flagpole is to the right, and you can count on that. That is like that is something certain that you can count on. But with 3D Mario, it's like, yes, you have an idea of where your goal is, but you're not always going in the same direction. Sometimes you're going this way, sometimes you're going that way. It's like, sometimes you want to go to that chain chomp over Ball and Battlefield. Sometimes you want to go to that chain chomp over there. Sometimes you want to go up the mountain. Sometimes you want to go for that flying island over there. It's like, with 3D Mario, the issue is not that you need to go right, but something is preventing you from going right. The issue is not that you need to go in a certain direction, and the goal is there, but it's hard to get to that goal. Sometimes it is, but in case of like a Bowser level, which is like linear, then it is. But in Super Mario 64, and Super Mario Sunshine, I suspect as well, the problem is more that you don't know where the goal is. And sometimes the goal isn't just getting to a place, sometimes it's something different, sometimes it's a task you have to perform, and sometimes that involves you going to multiple different places. You play hard. But, yeah, just like, I feel like Super Mario, like, Mario is a very... Mario 64 is very interesting, because it definitely is very different from every Mario game before it, because it's just like, designing a 2D game is very different from designing a 3D game. And I think that what's great about Super Mario 64 is that Nintendo understood that. Because if they tried to make their first 3D Mario game like a 2D Mario game, I don't think it would have been the huge success it was. I think that what is so great about Super Mario 64 is that it adapts Mario into 3D. Because if Mario was still going for that flagpole, or that box, or that like what is even the thing in Super Mario World, the goal tape? If he was still going for that one thing, that one goal, that one goal post, whether literally or just figuratively, if he was still going for that one goal post, then that wouldn't reflect the new range of the new like plane of movement he has. Like, it shouldn't like Super Mario Galaxy is good. I don't have any. A lot of people complain about like, oh yes, Super Mario Galaxy is too linear for my taste, and I get that, but I really don't care, especially since I love 2D Mario. But like, I'm so glad that the first 3D Mario game was not like that, because it really showed. Why did I switch? Okay, I need it. My brain is off right now. My brain is like not functioning. What the heck? Literally switched my normal type into a Machamp. That's nuts. But, set my normal type out against the Machamp. But, oh, what was I saying? Thinking noise, thinking noise, thinking noise, thinking noise, thinking noise, thinking. Yeah, I got nothing. It'll come to me. Just give it a minute. I really gotta get Gerald out of the front, because he is, running out of PP on everything at this point. Like, getting rid of Ember was not the worst choice, but like, the fact that, first of all, it's just useful to have more coverage. Better to have more coverage than less. So it would be good to still have that fire type movement. Also, just like, yes, 40 PP is quite a lot, but if we still had Ember, this would not be as much an issue as it is right now, because, like, then we'd have, like, 20 more PP to work off of, if we still had Ember. Like, I think that PP becomes a problem if you have, like, 2 moves or less. I think that if you have 4 moves, then PP is not a problem. Heck, if you have 3 moves, PP is probably not a problem. but it's when you have, like, 2 or less moves that PP becomes problematic. Like, for instance, now I am out of PP. But, I think that had Super Mario 64 been like Super Mario Galaxy, where it is linear like a 2D Mario game, but in 3D, it would have been wildly different. Not only the way that 3D Mario games would end up being designed, like, I don't think that they would have landed where they did with, like, 3D Mario. I don't think that they would have fallen into that, like, into that place that Super Mario 64 had, that so many people love. They wouldn't have fallen into that method of designing 3D Mario. Because it's just such a... I came this far for Pokemon! It's just such an interesting... Like, it's just such an interesting thing that, like... They realized with 3D Mario it had to be vastly different from 2D Mario. Like, not only with movement and, like, world design, but also with just, like, the way that missions are presented, the way that progression is presented. And had they gone for something more like Super Mario Galaxy, like, I think that not only would it have changed, if for Super Mario 64 they'd gone for something more like Super Mario Galaxy, with style-wise, I think that not only would it have changed, like, the development of future 3D Mario games drastically, but I think it also would have changed the development of future 3D games, period. Like, I think that Super Mario 64 set so much groundwork for how 3D games should be designed. Not only did it set the groundwork for 3D Mario games, but it set the groundwork for 3D games, period. Like, yes, platformers if you want to be specific, but, like, really, it is such a far-reaching thing. Super Mario 64's influence on video game development, because, like, obviously, no matter what, it was going to be influential because it was one of the first 3D games, like, proper 3D games. But, like, the fact that it did it well makes it even more influential, because it means that people can continue to find success copying off of Super Mario 64's homework. Sort of, like, taking inspiration from what made this game such a great introduction to 3D. And... where am I going with this? I want to, like, have a nice ending point here. Because I know I'm getting, like, really deep into the whole analysis of Super Mario 64 and how it affected gaming, and, like, I do tend to get like that with Super Mario 64, because it is really interesting to me, like, just looking back on it, being like, how could it have changed the world of gaming if Super Mario 64 was different in this way? I'm out of Pokemon! Like, I don't know, what's a good final thought here? I guess just... 2D Mario and 3D Mario are very different. And yes, 2D games are different from 3D games in most series, but especially in the case of, like, Mario, it is a vast difference. And yes, with Super Mario Galaxy, the difference became less apparent, because Super Mario Galaxy was less, like, had, like, less open, more linear levels than Super Mario 64, than its 3D predecessors, Super Mario 64 and Super Mario Sunshine. But, like, obviously they went back to that with Super Mario Odyssey, a more open feel, which means certainly it works. Like, Super Mario Galaxy was good, yeah, people liked it, but I think that the return to form after Super Mario Galaxy that Super Mario Odyssey displayed, where it is more open, levels are more open, and frankly more open than they've ever been. Like, yes, Super Mario 64 and Super Mario Sunshine were open levels, but, like, they weren't, like, open world to the point where Super Mario Odyssey is, and Super Mario Odyssey, not necessarily open world, but, like, it is, like, much bigger worlds with much more to explore and much more collectibles to get than Super Mario Sunshine. and Super Mario 64, and I think that it shows just how effective that is in like making a 3D world. That like they returned to that. Not only did they return to that style of like making Mario levels in 3D, but they expanded upon it. And it's not like a new idea to make like big open worlds full of tons of collectibles. That is not a new idea in the slightest. Did I get out of Rock Tunnel? Rock Tunnel? Wait a minute. Did I just... Huh! That is much quicker than I thought it would be. What the heck? I'm out of Rock Tunnel. I thought this would take like 3 or 4 episodes. Okay. I was sure I'd run out of potions entirely, but I have one left. No, I didn't think I'd go through all the super potions, but at least I'd run out of potions. I'm feeling a bit faint from this tough hike. I know, right? It was quite long, but yes, it's not a new concept in the slightest. Just like these big open worlds with tons of places to explore and stuff to collect. Maybe it's newer in the field of like platforming games, because like I won't say that Super Mario Odyssey was a crazy innovative platformer, because it did just like sort of do a lot of things that Mario had done before, but just on a bigger plane. But I will say that like the fact that Super Mario Odyssey wasn't linear like Super Mario Galaxy proves that like while Super Mario Galaxy and Super Mario Galaxy 2 were enjoyable, I think that even Nintendo realized that Super Mario 64 and Super Mario Sunshine's way of doing it, where it's like an open world with tons of more less obvious goals, is a more effective way of presenting worlds in a 3D platformer. Yeah, I'm not up to it. Check out this guy. I'm gonna end the episode when I get to Lavender Town. I will say, I think that like Mario Odyssey's like character designs are very interesting, because I think that, and also enemy design. I know I've given Mario Odyssey some crap in the past, but I think that they do a great job. I will say, I've said that I wish that the like Mario Odyssey exclusive enemies that we've never seen before were more abundant, and I do agree with that, but I like the way that they are designed for the worlds. I do think that it would be much more effective if they were like in like getting people accustomed to these new enemies, if they were more common, but I can see why they wouldn't be, because a lot of them are just so specifically designed around the world they are in. And I think that it is very good that they like accounted for that, because the thing about Super Mario Odyssey is that like every other Mario game, for the most part, takes place in the Mushroom Kingdom. Like, that's less true with the 3D Mario games, because, like, Super Mario 64, you're going into all these paintings, which, like, are they in the Mushroom Kingdom? Debatable. Some of them, they probably are. Others are like, probably not. Super Mario Sunshine, obviously not in the Mushroom Kingdom. You're in Delfino Islands. Super Mario Galaxy, you're in space. Definitely not the Mushroom Kingdom. But yeah, I think that, like, the 2D Mario games take place in the Mushroom Kingdom. And I think that because of that, we have gotten so accustomed to, like, the Mushroom Kingdom and how it is, and, like, the things that live there and stuff. And I think that it is very, like, it's kind of crazy to, like, say that there is a world beyond that. Like, present a world beyond that. Not laughing. Hey, Fever. Didn't you? Got it. Hey, Fever. Understood. But I think it is so hard to present a world beyond that, because, like, Mario fans, through 2D Mario, which was all set in this Mushroom Kingdom, like, made the Mushroom Kingdom so, like, it made the Mushroom Kingdom feel so big, with so much stuff in it, and it's so I think for that reason, it is so hard to present something beyond that. And in Super Mario Odyssey, they just present this whole idea of, like, there is a world beyond the Mushroom Kingdom. There is a huge world out there. There are other kingdoms. Hi, kid, wanna see my Pokemon? And I think that is, like, so hard to do, because people are so used to the Mushroom Kingdom at this point. They've explored every nook and cranny of the Mushroom Kingdom. They've been to the volcanoes. They've been to, like, the forests, the jungles, the swamps, the mountains. They're like, oh my gosh, the Mushroom Kingdom has everything. So, like, why? It's like, when the Mushroom Kingdom is presented as this magical place with all these different, like, biomes and different environments, it's like, why? It's like, well, the Mushroom Kingdom must be their whole world, you know? Because it's like, there's so much out there. There's so many different aspects of the Mushroom Kingdom. There's so many places to go there, and so many different environments. It's like, well, why wouldn't there be their entire world? Why would there be anything more to it if any, like, environment you could think of is in some form part of the Mushroom Kingdom? But then, like, the way that Super Mario Odyssey presents it, it's like, oh no, my Pokemon! The way that Super Mario Odyssey presents it, it's like, okay, yeah, Super Mario, like, the Mushroom Kingdom has quite a range of environments, but the other kingdoms of the world are more, like, they are more, like, distinct in what they are. Ah, this mountain air is delicious! Like, you have the Mushroom Kingdom, which is just a mishmash of all these different environments, and then you have, like, Seaside Kingdom, which is, like, just a beachside kingdom with, like, built in and around the water. You have Lake Kingdom, which is obviously built underwater. You have Ruin Kingdom, which is a very small kingdom, but, you know, a kingdom nonetheless. You have the Wooded Kingdom, which is a kingdom built in nature, out of, like, a sort of manufacturing kingdom. It's very interesting, but, like, it is a very good contrast, I will say. Just to have, like, everything, like, made out of metal, and then, but in, like, a wooded area. It is a very good idea, like, wooded kingdom, because I don't think a lot of people would think of that, to have, like, a forest with, like, big metal spires in it. Like, it is a very cool idea that, like, it's nature. You're in nature, you're in, like, a forest, a very natural type of place, but what's caring for this nature is robots, and this forest, which you would consider to be, like, you know, Mother Nature's domain, has been invaded by this technology. It is such an interesting idea. Wooded Kingdom? Like, definitely, kingdom designs in Mario Odyssey are very good. And I think that, like, they fit the kingdom, like, the enemies fit the kingdoms they are in, which is really important. And they really help to solidify the fact that, like, there are other kingdoms out there besides the Mushroom Kingdom. Like, that may be the one you're familiar with, but that isn't the only one. And other kingdoms can be just as varied, it's just we haven't seen as much of them. And I'd love in future Mario games to, like, return to these kingdoms, because, like, we can't, like, yes, all these kingdoms seem really small in Super Mario Odyssey, but like, the Mushroom Kingdom also seems really small in Super Mario Odyssey. You gotta keep that in mind. Like, Super Mario Odyssey is not presenting to us the entire kingdom. It is presenting to us, like, bits and pieces of the kingdom. That's why you can look out into the background of these kingdoms. Like, you can look out into the distance and see, like, more kingdom, you know? It's not like It's like, it's not like you're in the you're like exploring the entire kingdom. It's like, this is a part of the kingdom. This is possibly the most influential part of the kingdom. Like, it's like, this is the part of the Sand Kingdom with the inverted pyramid. This is the part of the Seaside Kingdom with the big old glass that has, like, sparkling water or whatever. But it is not the entire kingdom, just like the Mushroom Kingdom in Super Mario Odyssey. You don't have the entire kingdom to explore, because the entire Mushroom Kingdom would just be an insane amount of room to wander around in. Because that's just like the entirety of most of what we've been going through in most Mario games. It's like, it is like that. I think that it is like that. It is like exactly like that. That like I think that it's so interesting to think about, and it's like something that all the kingdoms that is true about all the kingdoms, is that in Super Mario Odyssey we are presented bits and pieces, the most important bits and pieces, but still bits and pieces of every kingdom. We are presented Peach's castle and things around it, but we are not presented the entire Mushroom Kingdom, because the entire Mushroom Kingdom is more that could be encompassed in one kingdom, more that can be encompassed in one game. It is a place where many, many games have taken place, and you see in many Mario games the fact that, like, the Mushroom Kingdom, while it's huge, it isn't infinite, and like, there are other kingdoms in this world. And I think that Super Mario Odyssey, for the first time, gave Mario fans an idea of just how many there are. And then Mario Wonder, it's sort of like leaving the Mushroom Kingdom, because they're starting to realize that the Mushroom Kingdom, we've explored quite a lot of it. And, like, yeah, they could just keep going and making more things in the Mushroom Kingdom, but it's so much more interesting to explore other kingdoms, to set games in other kingdoms. Because in Super Mario Odyssey help present a world in which the Mushroom Kingdom is not the only kingdom that exists anymore. Like, obviously it never was, but it sort of breaks this illusion that the fans might have had, that, like, the Mushroom Kingdom is all there is in Mario's world. Like, Super Mario Odyssey shows us, like, reminds people that there is more. It shows that there is more out there than what you've been seeing in Super Mario Bros. and New Super Mario Bros. And, like, all these other games set in the Mushroom Kingdom. And I think that I'd be really excited to see, like, an entire game set in, like, Wooded Kingdom, or Seaside Kingdom, or something like that. Maybe not Seaside Kingdom, because water physics are so stupid, but, just, like, I'd love if they could, like, if we had a chance to revisit these Mario Odyssey kingdoms, because I know that they're bigger than just what we're seeing. Like, I know that it only makes sense that if the Mushroom Kingdom is so big, that these other kingdoms would be huge as well, and we're just not seeing the entire thing, just as we're not seeing the entire Mushroom Kingdom in Mario Odyssey. We're not seeing the entire Sand Kingdom, we're not seeing the entire Cascade Kingdom, we're not seeing the entire Cap Kingdom. There is more to these kingdoms than what we are being shown in Mario Odyssey. I am certain of it, and I would love to see the rest of these kingdoms. And while these kingdoms don't seem to be as diverse as the Mushroom Kingdom, because they are named after a sort of, like, idea, sort of environment, while the Mushroom Kingdom is named after simply mushrooms, which seem to be able to grow pretty much anywhere in the Mushroom Kingdom, and not only are, like, natural things that grow in this kingdom, but are people, too. It's like, the Mushroom Kingdom can be named the Mushroom Kingdom. Hold on. That cleared my head. The Mushroom Kingdom can be named the Mushroom Kingdom because it's filled with mushroom people. The Wooded Kingdom cannot be named the Wooded Kingdom because it's filled with wooden people, you know? Like, the Wooded Kingdom is named the Wooded Kingdom because it's a forest. It's like, while other kingdoms are named for their environment, the Mushroom Kingdom is not. The Mushroom Kingdom is named for its people, because they are toads. They are toadstools. So, the Mushroom Kingdom is more diverse than other kingdoms. Like, well, the Wooded Kingdom is just all forest. Like, Mushroom Kingdom is not all forest. Mushroom Kingdom is, like, water and volcano and, like, all these other things. Wooded Kingdom is just forest. And, like, maybe it would be a lot less interesting to explore these places because they are all one thing, unlike the Mushroom Kingdom, which is a bunch of different domains and habitats and environments. But I still would like to see them return, and maybe having one environment for an entire game is too much, but at least, like, see more of them in future games. What's a cute, round, and fluffy Pokemon? Like, I think that Super Mario Odyssey 2, yeah, like, the promise of new kingdoms is interesting, but at the same time, I would just like to see more of the old kingdoms, you know? It's like Super Mario Odyssey presented all these kingdoms, and then, and by the magnitude of the Mushroom Kingdom, we are presented with the fact that these kingdoms could be a lot bigger than could be, and to my, according to my hypothesis, are much bigger than what we're seeing. So, like, yeah, I know that a lot of people would be are very excited, like Mario Odyssey 2, thinking of the possibilities, thinking of all these different kingdoms they could do. But frankly, I would be just happy with them returning to the old kingdoms and seeing more. Because if Super Mario Odyssey, I'd like to see them put this much effort into fleshing out these kingdoms as they did with the Mushroom Kingdom. Because at this point, the Mushroom Kingdom is so big and expansive with all these different things that, like, all these other kingdoms existing, I just want to see more of them. I want them to be that fleshed out. I want to see that much of them. And I know that like what the Mushroom Kingdom looks like, and the feel of it, and the environments of it, have been developed over all these games, and they simply cannot do that with these other kingdoms, because they don't have that many games. Like, there's no way they'd spend that many games on those kingdoms, because, like, they've already established their main kingdom and all. But it's just, like, so much, it's just so interesting to me, like, that they've made the world so much bigger suddenly. It's like everything you knew about Mario, everything, like, the whole world that was open to you has turned out to be just a small country. Stop! Don't be so mean to my Clefairy! And that's just so cool. But, anyway, that's gonna be the end of this episode. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. This is Alex Espion, signing off.